And greetings and welcome to the QCast. This is season 6, episode 8. And one of the races in Division 3 men's basketball that is really fascinating and interesting and super tight at this point is the North Coast Athletic Conference, the NCAC, which Massey currently has as the number 5 league in Division 3 men's basketball. I thought we might go to the NCAC, and one team in particular is DePauw, the Tigers in Greencastle, Indiana. And folks always like when I get student athletes on the QCast, and I thought this might be the time to bring in Brady Kunka, a 6'2 junior guard from Bennett Academy. Brady, first of all, I know it's finals week. So are you sure that you have time for the QCast? Is this like a study break or how's this working for you?
Yeah, we're just taking a little mental break. I actually had one this morning, did pretty well, I think, and then I got two later this week. So we're just taking a little time off, talk some hoops.
What is your degree in, by the way? Since this is D3, I got to ask some academic questions. What's your degree in?
I'm an economics major, nothing, no minor right now. So running with that. The two later in the week are both econ related, so those ones are bigger. So study up the next 2 days for those ones.
Well, what's it like being a student athlete, Brady, going through finals week? There's a lot on you guys. You've got basketball stuff and practices, and what's it like juggling all this stuff this time of year?
Yeah, it's definitely challenging, but I think our coaching staff does a really good job with it and managing it. They obviously know academics is first, and you know we were off yesterday because we had a game Saturday, but we're expected to get in, get some shots up during the week. We'll have some organized practices throughout the week, but it won't be anything too challenging until we get up to the weekend. We don't play till Saturday, fortunately, so we don't have to prepare for any games this week. So yeah, it's obviously you got to focus on both things. You don't want to fall out of shape. You don't want to lose the edge a little bit, but you got to maintain both things at one time. It can be challenging, but we do a pretty good job of it.
Just getting into your team a little bit, Brady. You guys are sitting here at 6-2 and 2-0 in the league. That 2-0 includes a really big win on the road at Wabash. We'll talk about that one. You're having a really good junior season, 13.1 points per game, 5.8 rebounds per game, 1.8 assists per game. Your field goal percentage is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. 652 field goal percentage. Talk a little bit about where you guys are sitting right now, Brady, through 8 games. Do you feel good about this 6-2? Just where are we at this point?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of confidence in our group. I mean, our non-conference schedule, we played some really good teams. Obviously, dropped a couple to Dubuque and Elmhurst, who are both really good programs. CCIW, and then obviously Dubuque's been in the tournament the last couple of years. So we felt we competed really well in those games. We, had every chance to win those. Just some things didn't go our way, but other than that, I think we capitalized. We overcame adversity. We won some games maybe in the past we would have lost due to inexperience, whatever you want to say. But I think the group's really coming together. We're kind of meshing this really well. Um, and yeah, we're playing with a lot of confidence. Obviously, 2-0 in conference, getting a big road win was huge for everybody. Got everybody in good spirits. And getting off the 2-0 in the league is always good, especially when you got a lot of competition as and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but we got a lot of great teams in this league. John Carroll comes in; they're going to be
Yeah.
another good team. So getting off that 2-0 start is going to put us in a good spot to continue to climb that. So
In this 2-0 start to the league race, you've been really, really good. So when in your win at Wabash, you had 21 points, 4 rebounds. You were 9 of 13 from the field. And then the win against Kenyon, you were also the leading scorer in that game, 13.7 rebounds. You were 6 of 8 from the field. I know this has nothing to do with personal stuff, but how do you feel about where your game is here, kind of at the third mark of your junior year?
I feel really good about it. I'm obviously finishing at a high level, which is something I pride myself on. Once I get in there, I put in all the work over the summer, lifting, conditioning, just get in there and finish around the bigger guys. So that's big for me. And then, I was just fortunate enough that sometimes get a couple easy shots in our offense. Guys are finding me on cuts really well right now. That's another part of the thing. Everybody's meshing. Everybody kind of knows what's going on. I think that's a big part of my personal success as well. But I'm just playing with a lot of confidence right now. Just feel good about where I'm at. So
You're a 6'2" guard, but you're really a big physical 6'2" guard. You mentioned off-season workouts and stuff. Talk a little bit, if you would, about the importance of the getting on the weights and the off-season workouts and the things that you have to do as a Division III hooper to get yourself ready for the season.
it's a huge part of it. Obviously, we don't have a lot of contact similar to D1 programs. Those guys are, with their teams for a lot majority of the summer. But for D3 guys and other levels, we're working out with each other at home. We're obviously Chicagoland. There's a lot of guys who play Division III ball. It's I have a lot of good relationships with guys across the country who play at different places. So that's really nice for me to be able to, go call up Ryan Johnson, for example. Like Carthage played AAU with him, so he's a good resource for me and a bunch of other guys. And then lifting wise, I've been lifting pretty heavily for the past 3, 4 summers. Work out a lot, usually 4 days a week, and that's been really important for me. I saw it especially, senior year of high school. Being able to be stronger and more physical is, gave me an advantage, especially in high school. I mean, I played the four in high school. I was
Right.
6'2", four-man in high school. So, and then obviously coming to college, I'm playing more of a guard position, and already having that size coming in gave me an opportunity to contribute right away as a freshman and kind of continue to develop that to where I am now, where I feel really good about my body, about where I'm at. And just playing at a high level, playing physical. Our conference is super physical. We got a lot
Yeah.
of big dudes, a lot of strong guards, good guards. So it's important to be physical, be strong.
You mentioned playing the four at Bennett, and it seems like that experience has helped you because you're playing a guard, but you're playing a really big physical guard. Like you get yourself to the basket a lot. It seems like you love contact. You're a good shooter. Obviously, we talked about your field goal stats. You're a really good mid range, a good 3-point shooter. But it seems like a lot of your game is around getting to the basket and just contact. Is that fair to say? Talk a little bit about like your offensive game.
Definitely. I mean, I think that's a big part of my game. Obviously, like you said, high school, that was a big part of it, and learning how to play through contact with bigger dudes. Guarding guys who are 6'8", 6'9", and having to be physical with them for whatever 32 minutes in a high school game is um, made me want to just continue to get better at that and seek it out at the college level. Because if I'm driving the basket and I got not a 6'8" guy, I mean maybe 6'4", 6'5", but I'm used to being able to finish over those 6'8" guys. Get into their body, get contact. Like I said, I like to get contact. Finish and ones. It's my favorite. One of my favorite things is just getting the and one, see that ball could go through the hoop. Um, and yeah, it's just a big part of my game.
You had a big and one in that game at Wabash, and it's clear that like the muscle that you've put on was a big part of being able to finish that. Not that you'd remember the exact play, but it was second half. It was 10-point game, and you were able to finish with your right hand. You ended up on the floor, but I could tell that like you had no problem with the contact, and that's a huge part of your game. Before we leave, kind of talk of high school and AAU for a second. I'd love to get your perspective on Division III recruiting because there's kids that are high school juniors and seniors right now that are going through what you went through. And I always tell people in different parts of the country where there's not a lot of D3 schools that in the Chicagoland area, kids grow up with a great impression of Division III basketball. It's not the same in like the Pacific Northwest, maybe, or California, even some parts of the East. When you were coming out of Bennett and you were getting recruited, what was your impression of Division III as like a high school junior, senior that was going through that?
I kind of grew up on Division III. Obviously, my dad played at Illinois Wesleyan, so I knew that we always filled out D3 brackets growing up.
That's hardcore.
Filled out the March Madness for D1, and then he'd print off the D3, and we'd fill it out, and I'd be like, I don't know what these seeds are. I have no idea. Just write down some name. Um, but obviously, he was there. My stepdad was the coach at Benedictine. My mom coached volleyball at North Central College, so they were all around the D3 level when I was growing up. So I had obviously a great impression there. And then through the high school like recruiting process, AAU, a majority of my schools that recruited me were D3. So um, being able to go to these different places and visit all these places around the Midwest and see schools in Wisconsin, Iowa, Indiana, Illinois. Obviously, there's a lot of strong D3 schools in the Midwest, so that was a really good opportunity for me to just see wherever I choose. There's going to be competition, so I'm not going to pick a place and we're just going to go and dominate everybody. There's going to be good programs all around, and DePauw was the one where I felt the basketball side was good and everything else kind of matched what I was looking for in a school. Academically, just the vibe of it, and I was seeing a great conference, good proximity to home. So that was a big part of me choosing DePauw. But like you said, D3 was a big part of my life growing up. So just having that perspective helped me to make the choice I made.
Yeah, D3 kind of had an unfair advantage with you, right? With all the
Yeah,
ties no one had to sell you on Division 3 being a good place to be, which is pretty
right.
cool. You mentioned you picked DePauw and Coach Rusty Lloyd. I believe you were in his first recruiting class. It seems like that would have been like the first full year he was there, and then your freshman year was like his second year, I believe. Do I have that lined up right?
That's right. Yeah, his second year here was my freshman year. So yeah, my class was his first recruiting class.
Before we talk about your team, let's just stay with Division 3 for a second. So Division 3 is really unique. No athletic scholarships. Um, to me, the true student athlete experience. Division 1 is fun to watch. There's a lot going on in Division 1 right now. The kind of times are changing, and we're not going to get into all that. But what are your impressions, Brady, of being a Division 3 student athlete? Like when there's that YD3 hashtag we always use on Twitter, but what's your YD3?
For me, it was one, the opportunity to just play basketball. Like I said, a lot of my recruitment was Division 3, so I knew I wanted to play. Growing up, I knew I wanted to play. Even recruiting, I had never even thought of just going to school at a Big Ten school or something like that. I always wanted to play. Um, but here, it's the environment that everyone else creates. Like we have a great environment, student environment here. Um, a lot of support from the fraternities, from other sports teams, going to football, soccer, basketball, baseball. Like everyone goes to each other's games. It's a great environment, and obviously the academics is a big part of it. DePauw is a super high academic school and has been a big part of me moving forward. I'll have an internship here in the spring to be able to work in a real environment. So that'd be a great experience. So that's why D3 for me is the all around experience, like you said, the academic side, the athletic side. And has really I've been able to maximize my experience at DePauw through all those different things.
Really well said. Um, Looking at your team, first of all, the number that just is mind-boggling to me. You're shooting 55% from the field. Like teams that shoot, I don't know, 45, 46% are good. If you shoot 50% from the field, that's elite. But you're shooting 55% and you're averaging 86 points a game. In terms of that type of offensive efficiency, Brady, is it the system you're playing in? Is it the guys? What's allowing you guys to get so many great shots and able to convert at that kind of rate? That's a crazy stat.
I think it's a combination of both of those things. I think we have a really good system in place. Our coaching staff has done a really good job of bringing it here and implementing it and teaching it to us starting last year. And then again, the guys on the team, we've really bought into it. I think that's a big piece of it too. Our bigs have really bought into it more playmaking and playmaking out of the post and out of gets and other things like that. So they've really bought into it in the guards too. So that's been a big piece of it. And like you said, we're getting a great shot every time. That's one of our goals. We're willing to pass up a good one for a better one. Um, so whether it's an open three, make one more, or drive and kick it out for an open three. I mean, that's what we're based on, and we want to get a good shot every time, and just get a shot every time. We don't want to try to minimize turnovers and things like that. And I think that helps with efficiency too, just taking care of the ball and getting a good shot every time. Leads to shooting 55% from the field, whether that's around the basket,
Yeah.
finishing through contact, like we talked about earlier. We shot a really high percentage against Wabash last week. I think we made like 12 threes, so that was a big game for us too. So just all around, everybody's bought into the system, and the system's paying off for us.
Yeah, as I go through some of the stats of some of your teammates who stand out statistically, again, remember that Brady's averaging 65% from the field, 0.652. So your dude right now is this Ref Stevenson cat, 6'9", junior. He's in your class. He's averaging 19.8 points and 8.9 rebounds, and he's shooting 0.700. Like that's first team All American numbers right there. Talk a little bit, if you would, about Ref Stevenson.
I mean, ref's one of my guys. We came in, obviously, we're in the same class, like you said. And Ref committed right after me, actually. So we got in contact right away. We were talking about everything the whole summer leading up to freshman year, and we've developed a great relationship over the last 2.5, 3 years. And it's been awesome to see his development as a player. He's a great person in general, but his player, he's come a long way since freshman year. He came in as super athletic, super, hardworking. And we saw that in him. I think he started all but one game freshman year. He came in and right away made an impact. But like I said, with the system we put in last year and the new offense that we're running, he's really taken his game to the next level. Like I said, with the playmaking, he's coming off ball screens. He's rebounding at a really high level, finishing at a really high level. And it always helps to have a guy who's 6'9" and freakishly athletic around the basket. He's been taking a big step this year and just cleaning up stuff around the basket. He had four huge blocks against Franklin. Just guys get beat off the dribble, he's there to clean it up. So that's been huge for us. And obviously had a big game against Greenville, had 49 points, but um, I've just been super proud of his development and really just buying into what we're trying to do.
Another guy having a big season is Sam Jacobs, who's a 6'4" senior guard. He's averaging 16.9 points, 3.0 rebounds, 3.5 assists. Another guy shooting a crazy number, 52% from the field. Talk about Sam Jacobs.
Sam's one of our seniors. He's our captain. He's been a captain for I think 3 years now. So he's been around. He knows what's going on. He's a super vocal leader. He's willing to say whatever needs to be said. But the thing about Sam is Sam's one of the hardest working people I've ever been around in high school and AAU and college. But when you always come in the gym, Sam's in here 20 minutes early doing stuff. And that's really paid off for him. He's had a great season. He was, I think, second team all conference last year. He was freshman of the year when he was a freshman. And he, again, another guy who's really bought into it. He's a great scorer, a great mid-range shooter, a great three-point shooter, can score at all levels. But like I said, 3.5 assists. He's really bought in. He's moving the ball. He's doing whatever he can to help us win. And he's been a huge part of our success. Um, and just a guy who I've looked up to over the last 2.5 years, work ethic wise, and just want to continue to do those things so that we can continue to elevate the program even after he's gone next year. Obviously, I'll be a senior, but we want to continue to move in that direction, bring in guys who are going to work hard and have that kind of work ethic.
You mentioned that he's a senior, and you do have a ton of junior influence on the team. You and Ref, and then Caleb Washington, a guy that brings more great size. You do. You have a really good balance of perimeter guys and then posts. 6'6" junior forward, averaging 13 and 6, and again shooting 57% from the field. Talk about Caleb Washington, if you would, Brady.
Caleb's another guy who works super hard. Like I said, it's a common theme here, but uh, Caleb came in. He's had a couple huge games for us over the last couple of years. We played Denison freshman year, and I think he had like 24 points in 20 minutes. He was just spraying it, and we had a couple games like that. We expected out of him. He's always willing to take that leading role as a scorer or take a step back and be a great rebounder. I mean, he's had a couple couple games with double doubles, maybe this year, especially last year. And he's been one of our best playmakers too. I think he had a game with 5 or 6 assists earlier in the year out of that four spot. Um, you know, Caleb's more of a quiet leader, but everyone kind of respects him for that. And um, he's another guy who's in my class, been with him for 3 years now. You know, he's just been a great guy to have.
Another big guy, a sophomore, Vince Nixon, a 6'6" sophomore forward averaging 7 points, 5 rebounds, and another dude shooting 59%. I mean, mathematically, I'm not a math major, but when you add up all these field goal percentages I'm giving you, I guess that's why it totals up to 0.545. Talk about Vince Nixon, if you would.
Yeah, Vince has been a great guy for me. I know I've loved having him around. He's one of the funniest guys we have on this team. But um, coming in as a freshman last year, he came in determined to play, to contribute, to do whatever he can to get on the floor and help us win games. And he's another guy who's taking a big step. Plays a lot of the backup five for us when the ref's out of the game. He's a great playmaker. He's super high energies, runs the floor really hard, plays really hard. Just a good guy to have around the team because he brings everybody up with him. Um, he's just yeah.
He comes off the bench, like you mentioned, and the final starter in the mix, Joe Smith, who I believe is your point guard, 5'10" junior, averaging 7 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, just a great all around stat line for a point guard. Talk about Joe Smith.
Joe, another guy who's in my class. We have 4 junior starters, so we've had a great relationship not growing up, but been here for 2 years, 2.5, 3 years, feels like that long. But Joe came from a really good high school program, similar to me. We always had the conversation of whose high school team would have won. He played with the guy who's at Notre Dame now, Marcus Burton. So coming from a winning program, he's brought a lot of that mentality here. Another guy plays with super high energies. For a 5'10" guard, he's one of the strongest guys on our team. He squats a crazy amount, makes him great defensively. Always getting steals and passing lanes, super quick, gets downhill, willing to make the extra pass. Um, you know, Shooting at a pretty high level right now. I think he made two against Kenyon, couple against Wabash. Like another guy, obviously shooting at a good clip. So we had good core of guys that are all playing well, playing hard, doing what they do best to kind of help us continue to elevate this thing.
And I know you got more guys that contribute to this thing. Those are some of the guys that jump off the page on the stats. And you're playing again really well as a team. I think you have great balance. You do. You have great size. You have great guards. You're physical. The league. I want to talk about the NCAC because it's interesting going way back to about the time you were born and maybe the next 5 or 10 years. This league used to be like all Wittenberg and Wooster. It was like those two teams, and they were like in the top five of the country every year. And then there was a huge drop off. And to me, the league is totally flipped. It's a totally different kind of league because we used to always debate, is the NCAC a good league if it's just two great teams? And my point was, you got to be better than two. You got to have more than two great teams to have a great league. So now you've got, I think it's 5 teams in the top 54 of Massey, and then there's a bunch of other teams that are really good after that because like one of them, Wooster. This year, standings currently, Wittenberg's 2-0. You guys are 2-0. Worcester's 1-0. Wabash is 1-1. Denison hasn't played yet. John Carroll 0-1. Kenyon hasn't. Or is Kenyon 0-0? Did you guys beat Kenyon? Is that right?
Yeah, I think they're 0-1.
I think I'm missing a couple games in there, but you get the point. The league is like all jammed up, and it seems like this race, Brady, is going to be pretty fantastic because like John Carroll's in the league now, and Denison won it last year, and they're in the mix now. You're an up and comer, and you guys got this talented group. Talk about just the league as a whole and kind of how you expect this race to go as the next couple of months play out.
I think one of our league is one of the most competitive leagues around. Obviously, there's a lot of good conferences around the country, but being in it the last 2 years and traveling to these different places, Like you said, Wooster, Wittenberg, Wabash, Denison, all these teams up and down the list are really competitive. And I think we've won. I think we've beat almost every team, and we've lost almost every team. So um, it's like we're just trying to continue to take our step to the next level while kind of understanding that all these teams are still really good. We're not, just because we're 2-0 doesn't mean that we're just going to run away with this thing. Um, it's been a really physical league. We've had some really good players. Our all conference has been all over. I think we've had a couple All Americans in the last 2 years. So competitiveness is really important, and the physicality I think is the biggest thing in our league. We've talked about. I mean, I've talked about it
Right.
earlier with my physicality, but um, the whole league is in general as big dudes who want to play physical, want to get downhill, want to finish, want to knock down shots. I think that's the biggest thing is everybody wants to play, everybody wants to beat each other up, everybody wants to take out this team. So that is what really adds to the competitive nature of it. So yeah.
And you look at the league a little bit, and road games are so important in any conference. I was watching my Titans play Wednesday at Carthage, or when was that? Yeah, it's Wednesday. Thinking like, boy, if they could win this one, that's such a huge thing to be able to win on the road. You had a similar game, right? When you guys went to Wabash in the opener, Wabash has been great for several years now. That's a tough place to play. They have those crazy dudes that are dressed crazy and they're yelling at you the whole time, standing up. Coming into that Wabash game, what was kind of the mentality of your team heading into that one?
Like you said, they've been really good for the past 3 years. I think they won three conference championships in a row before Denison won last year. I think they were in the Final Four a couple years ago. They had some really good teams, really good players. Um, and we were 0-4 against them in my time here before last Wednesday. So I think that was a piece of it.
Sure.
We just wanted to go in. We felt really confident about our group, especially coming off non-conference play. We lost one at home to Elmhurst before Thanksgiving, so we kind of had that chip on our shoulder going into it. And just like you said, the environment there is awesome. It's super unique at Division 3 level.
Yeah.
It's packed. There's barely an open seat in the gym. They bring a lot of energy. Their fans bring a lot of energy. They always have. Seems like the whole school in there. Um, so it's really fun to play in, especially as a player who doesn't get to play in a lot of super intense crowds, super into it games at Division 3 level. There can be games where there's 50 people in the gym. So that's super special to us. I think we fed off that energy, and we played really well as a team. We came out a little bit sluggish, but then we finished really well. We continued to be aggressive, hit shots, finish around the basket, and it was kind of a domino effect from there. We all kind of fed off each other's energy. Everybody's making big shots here, getting some big stops down the stretch, able to close it out at their place. It was a fun win, fun environment, but they got to come here later in the year. We know that's going to be another battle. We'll have a big crowd. They'll have a big crowd. It'll be another fun one. And a game we all have circled on our calendars. I'm sure they do too. So it's fun.
And I think most D3 fans kind of know the history between DePauw and Wabash, and football, the Monon Bell and all that good stuff. And so it's a great rivalry in every sport. You mentioned you're in finals now. And so when you come out of finals, you've got Saturday the 13th, you've got Wooster. I think that one's at home, correct? That
Yep.
that that one's in Greencastle. And then you go Wednesday the 17th, a non-conference game, another home one against Illinois College. Both of those teams are good. The Worcester game, obviously, you know all about them, and they're in the league. Illinois College, I saw them opening night at the Shirk Center. Very talented team with all kinds of athletic guys and a great score. One game at a time here, though. That Worcester game, being a league game, is enormous for you. Sitting here at 2-0, a chance to go 3-0. I know that it's still a few days away, and you got to get through all your finals first. But thoughts going into the Worcester game?
We're super excited for it. We had a big win against them last year on senior night to kind of propel us into the conference tournament. So we felt pretty confident about that one. But going into this one, they lost a couple guys who were really good in our league. All conference type guys, player of the years, defensive player of the years. Um, but they returned 7 guys who have played and got a big transfer from a JUCO who's playing at a really high level. So we're excited about the challenge. Another big home game in the conference. Hopefully we'll get some people here at the end of finals week to come out and support us. But we know that their record's not indicative of who they are. They're probably one of the most physical teams in the country, if not the most. They got size just as much as us. We match up pretty similar with them, and they play really hard. They're coached really well. Obviously, their coach has been there for a very long time. Has had a lot of success, as you mentioned. Um, so it's always a fun game. Super physical, super high energy. Guys are excited for it, so I think we'll be ready for the challenge.
Just another couple questions. D3 content creators. A friend of the QCast told me that you're a big D3 Datacast guy. My guys, Matt and Zach Snyder, talk about the Datacast. How often do you watch it? Have you watched today's episode? Like, talk through that.
Yeah, I mean, guys on my team, and one of our assistant coaches is always asking me, what's going on around D3 because they know I'm a big, paying attention to what's going on in all types of conferences. But I mean, the Datacast is great. I mean, yeah, I actually did watch the one this morning. Um, I try to follow along with the picks, try and see what's going on around there. So, yeah, it's always fun to watch them. I think they do a great job of covering, our sport D3, um, all over the country, whether it's Midwest, East, Southwest.
Absolutely.
They do a great job of covering everything and um, just bringing a lot of attention to maybe a not so watch sport across the country, especially D3. So. Um, Yeah, it's fun. I try to catch every episode every Monday, but sometimes it falls through. But I like to catch up and see what's going around the country. And I'm always checking D3 hoops even after our games. I'll be in the locker room saying, "Oh, this team beat this team," and everybody's like, "Who cares?" But it's something I like to do. Just kind of keep note of what's going on around the league. Like I said, I have a lot of friends who play Division 3 basketball. A lot of guys I grew up with, AAU, high school. So, it's fun to check some box scores, see who's playing well, see who beat who. So, um, something that I like to do.
The Datacast again. New episode came out today, and then all their stuff is on demand on YouTube. So Matt and Zach do a great job with that. You mentioned checking d3hoops.com for scores. This is the hot time of year for d3hoops.com. There's a scoreboard with all the games, the top 25 poll. There should be a new men's basketball and women's basketball top 25 probably by about the time that we air this QCast here on Monday.
Yeah.
So check that out. I saw my friend Dave McHugh did a new Hoopsville today, so make sure you check out Dave's stuff on Hoopsville. And so this is the great time of year for D3, and there's a lot of people putting stuff out there to try to promote Division 3 basketball. So this is a fun time of year. Got to ask you about Coach Rusty Lloyd. I saw Coach Lloyd play for the University of Chicago back in the day. Graduated in 1998. He played on some great teams. This is his 4th year at DePauw. What's it like playing for Coach Lloyd?
It's been a great experience for me. Me and him have a great relationship. Just talking about anything sports, whatever's going on around the league. But playing for him is awesome. Everyone's had a great relationship over the past couple of years. He pushes us to play hard, play at a high level, but I think we've really responded, especially this year, of taking those challenges, whether it's in a timeout when he's yelling at us or either at practice or whatever. It can be intense, but everyone's really responding to it well right now. So it's been super beneficial for us for him and he's been a really great resource for us off the court, on the court. Always willing to do whatever it takes, and we know that at the end of the day, he's got our best interest in mind. Um, and him, along with our coaching staff, has done a great job with us over the last couple of years, and being able to be around them and learn about basketball and talk D3, talk D1, talk whatever. Like it's just been an awesome experience.
Before I let you go and ask for your final thoughts, what's your toughest final? You mentioned you had one today. Like as you look at the whole week, what is the toughest final that you have, Brady Kunka?
The two on Thursday and Friday will be pretty tough. Thursday's microeconomics. That'll be a tough one, but I think Friday will be a little bit tougher. That's the investment analysis and portfolio management. So
Whew.
that'll be a tough one. It'll be a long one too. It'll probably be 2.5, 3 hours. So we'll have to really lock in for that one before Worcester on Saturday.
Yeah,
So
see, that's that again, that's the reality here. Like you guys are legit student athletes with really hard finals. And then, oh, by the way, you play Wooster Saturday after that
yeah,
gauntlet Thursday, Friday. So I just hope people realize what these young men and young women are doing here in all the D3 sports. So that's great stuff. Um, so folks, DePauw is 6-2, and they're 2-0 in the league. They're playing really well. Brady Kunka has been the leading scorer of the last two games on a very deep and balanced team. We mentioned some of the great players led by Ref Stevenson and some of the other guys. So it's a really deep, balanced group. They play Wooster Saturday. It's been a pleasure, Brady, having you on the QCast here, and want to give you the final words here. You're going to have DePauw Tiger Nation certainly tuning in to hear Brady Kunka. I gotta believe the Bennett family will be all over this thing. Division 3 nation in general. We're just gonna have a lot of different camps. I want to say that one Dan Kunka in Hollywood might be checking this out. I know a David Kunka from the Illinois Wesleyan class of '93 will check this out. What do you want to leave everyone with today, Brady Kunka?
yeah. I mean, I think you hit a lot of the camps that I'm involved in there, but DePauw Nation, I feel like has been great for us this year. We've had a lot of guys come out to games. Our student section is awesome. They're always into it, cheering for us and being able to have a great home environment. That's great for us. The Bennett family has always been there for me. It's been one of the best decisions of my life to go to Bennett and be a part of that and coach high camp and everybody else there and having a lot of friendships through there. And obviously Uncle Dan is over in California and just, writing movies and just doing nothing else. So, he's just chilling over there. But yeah, it's good to have a lot of family support across the country. We got family all over. So I'm sure they'll check this out and I hope they don't get too disappointed in my answers, but I think they'll be all right. So yeah, I mean, we're excited. We're excited to be where we are, but we're not satisfied. We want to continue to chase conference championship. I don't think DePauw hasn't won a conference championship since I think 2015. We got that banner hanging up in the gym. We want to add some numbers to it, so that's our end goal. So we want to do that.
When you were mentioning all your ties to Division 3 growing up as a kid, that you left one out. And when I was going to Illinois Wesleyan, first team All American ball boy was your uncle. Like this, we're talking this Dan Kunka. You wouldn't believe the ball boy skills that he had as a kid.
Yeah,
And so you left him out. Like you have ties to a legit D3 ball boy from the '90s. And so I needed to throw that out since you left him
I, I
hanging on
I
that.
forgot him. I forgot about him.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, Brady, it's been a pleasure having you on. Well, let's talk again, like later in the season, and you guys are playing for the conference championship and stuff. We got to get some hot takes from you at that point. Glad to have you on the show, and really appreciate your time, Brady.
yeah, it was great. It was great being on, and I'm always ready to hop on back on and talk D3 hoops, and you know I'll start my own podcast one day talking about
We need
D3
more.
stuff.
We need
So
more
yeah,
podcasters, kids. So good
I'm
luck
ready.
to you, and thanks, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.